Hey, this is Kitsunes of Reckoning, and I'm making this guide for a couple of the mages in my guild. I just had some questions about Arcane. The first priority you're going to want to have as an Arcane mage, you can't afford to miss anything, so you're going to want to always be hit capped. You know, you can stay above like 16.9, but I wouldn't recommend ever spilling over 17%, because then you're just kind of wasting stats. The second stat that you definitely want to go for as Arcane Mage is Intellect. You want to get as much mana as possible. The best stat after that is Mastery. Mastery gives you mana adaption, which basically says, like, the more mana you have, the harder you're going to hit. Mastery is very key for Arcane Mages. Basically what the Mastery does is, let's say a spell hits for 10k and I have 100% mana. Well, that same spell probably will only hit for about 5k if I have about 50% mana. Very important. I'll break down those talents for you real quick. Arcane Concentration, very important, because you can get Clear Cast, which are free, and a free cast chance good. Torment the Weak, as long as you have Nether Vortex, you don't have to worry about that. Arcane Missiles, Presence of Mind, very important. Incanter's Absorption. Some people like to not put points in this. That's very important for raid DPS. Almost all fights are going to cause you to take some kind of AoE damage, so make sure you have a Mage Ward, or Mage Ward if it's a magical damage, or Mana Shield if it's physical even, because whenever those get broken, it's going to give you a very large amount of spell power. Arcane Potency, all these talents are basically a must. It's somewhat of a cookie cutter spec, but there's a reason. Master of Elements, reduce space cast, very good. Crit, right. Glyphs, next we're gonna go to Glyph of Arcane Blast, increases the damage from Arcane Blast. Glyph of Mage Armor, very, very important. Make sure you always have this up when fighting. Arcane Missiles, and then Glyph of Arcane Power. This mainly helps out for macros, just because you have no global cooldown for the listed spells. And I just like Glyph of Evocation, because regaining 40% health is always good, and Glyph of Polymorph, that way there's dots on your target, it doesn't keep popping out. And the others three are just subject to your choice, although Glyph of Mirror Image is quite good. Alright. Next I'm just going to explain like a couple things you're going to always want to make sure you have up before you use a go. Always have 3 mana gems, it's very important. If the fight you're going through lasts longer than 6 minutes, you can actually, best thing to do is wait for Presence of Mind to come up, and then Presence of Mind and cast Conjure Mana Gem. Or you can even just hard cast it, but you know, just little tricks always help. You want to always have mana, Mage Armor. Never use Molten Armor, it's just terrible. Focus Magic, another person that has a high chance to crit, that way you can get the crit back as well. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of a DPS parse on this dummy right here. Just for the sake of doing it, I'm gonna start with Time Warp, just because, you know, you never know. This is gonna teach you how to do a burn phase anyway. Time Warp. And you're gonna want to burn until you get to that mana gem icon. Use it to get full cast all your cooldowns. That gives you quite a bit of spell power. And you're going to burn down to 35% and then evocate back up. You can even burn down to that little Flame Orb icon, throw out your Flame Orb. That gives you Arcane Missiles procs, which then you can use to just kind of regain your mana back to around 90%. 90% is always good. That's what I like to shoot for. Use Presence of Mind whenever it's up. Get about 3 stacks. 3 stacks is about as high as you want to go, unless you have an overflow in mana, in which case just AV spam until you get to the point where you want to cast missiles. you're about to cast missiles, just go ahead and cast another Arcane Blast, because it's going to be free. There, one product. Alright. Ego's Burn Phase coming up in 3 seconds. And here we go. And spam until you reach the point where your mana gem brings you to 100%, which is right here. Use that. Use Arcane Power. And as you can see, Evocage just about to come off cooldown, which is definitely what you always want to try for. Evocate back up. And as you can see, I have an overflowing mana. It tells me I have 10 seconds to get rid of that mana, or it's going to go to waste. And you never want mana to go to waste. So get some stacks off. There we go. Get your orb out. Oops. A little bit open, that's okay. Just wait for Mage Armor to do. Alright, well I think that just about wraps up our guide. And if you have any questions, of course, just PM me in game or yell at me in Ventrilo. I'm always willing to help you. Thank you.